Hello, everybody. Good night. Buenas noches. How's everybody doing? Actually, it's a little bit different in Spanish. When you I guess greet people, you start with saying good night first, and then you carry on with your conversation, and then say good night again for closing. They also do that with like their punctuations, so everything starts like with an exclamation point backwards. And anyhow, um, since I'm being so vocal about everything else, I felt that maybe I should be vocal about something that's a little bit more relevant to my own life experience, and hope that maybe that's where I might carry the most um, contribution as far as um, overcoming and anything that might happen, and then just kind of balancing out really what it comes down to. I've had a lot of as a my parents migrated here from Mexico in their in the late 60s. I want to say late 60s. They had entirely different experiences. They came from different states in Mexico. They had different families. On my mom's side, they were bracero. Her dad was a bracero. On my dad's side, they were more like artsy, like you know, on the music. They had actually already been in Texas, and on my dad's side, his younger siblings are born in Texas. On my mom's side, everybody was basically born in Mexico. Eventually, everybody came over here on the Bracero program. Some of them decided to go back, and that's fine, but that's irrelevant. So basically, my experience with the drug war has been that really it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle on a very higher level. I think that I could even apply it to the Biden administration, where I've thought to myself, well, his son is a crackhead, so why is he vested in having any influence on his father to close the border and keep that from happening? Um, so obviously, I'm like a strong promoter of Trump, because I know how it has affected me, and how it's affected people that are near me. So it's affected me in two ways. It's affected me because in the late 60s, early 70s, through early 80s, everybody wanted to be doing drugs, and my parents were no different. They wanted to fit in. They wanted to be American. People that I tease people that move in after like a generation after that, and like as long as they're wearing Gap and like watch Roseanne, they're like totally in. It's like it's the same thing. Like they don't know what they're doing. They're just, but they oughta, and that's important. I'm a total philosopher. I really I don't care about what is. Like what is has to, like, could be changed sometimes. So what oughta is definitely something you have to talk about. Either way, my dad ended up in doing his amusement, recreational drugs or whatever, and um, so did my mom. I'm sure. I don't. I have reasons to believe that she did, and me, no, I'm just an alcoholic. I'm actually drinking wine now, so if you don't mind, thank you. Cheap wine, but it's good. It's really good. Um, so basically, what ended up happening was as I'm told, a lot of other people grow up in a dysfunctional family. Okay. Uh, doesn't change the fact that it happened to you, right? Okay, that's fine. But then from there, um, my brother was a total sucker, my older brother. And this is because of the whole, uh, like, it's sort of like an environment that is created around people like me, that um the older male is supposed to be the man of the house, and the older, so he totally got taken advantage of. And I'm not making an excuse for himself, but I mean, at one point I heard my sister's boyfriend, whom is a jailbird, and I don't talk to them. I don't talk to anybody, so I'm totally fine if they want to harass me. They have ways to get under my skin and try and take over my mind. And then I just shoot everybody in my dreams, and then everybody goes away, and then everybody's happy. That's kind of how it's been working for the last few years. But hopefully it never really happens, but because I'm doing my best, never, I don't want to come near them, and they shouldn't come near me. Having said that, well, that's just, I guess, in my defense, as a, I guess, um, what is it called? I forget. Anyhow, so it creates an environment that can also carry on to the next generation. You don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I sympathized with people that may have been in that situation, because I'm a rational, intelligent person that wants to see everything from every angle. And then I want to I wouldn't say prove, but I want to make people realize, like, this is what you could have also done. It's not proving. I know that I can do what I want to do. I know that I don't have to be in a domestic abuse relationship. Even I can marry like a criminal. And you don't know that when you're 17. I mean, at 17, you think like, oh, easy peasy. He's probably just like some idiot. Just kidding. No, I didn't think of that. I didn't think that of him. Although I did think that I was like, I was actually a little bit, I don't know, like drawn to him. And I'm not going to use words, like in Hollywood movies, like he was just so mysterious. That's just what happens to little girls that can't understand and can't explain why their like self-confident self isn't being accepted. And I was, and I thought, well, maybe I can win him over. If I win him over, he's going to be fine, and I don't care about everything else. That can change, because you know what, my parents have the right to change. They've made their mistakes. They've been through this whole domestic violence. Well, it turns out tides were against me, and I've been going against the tides this entire time, it turns out. Some people just, maybe that's why I like Trump, and I don't even think that Trump has had it as bad as I have, but I'm not trying to get into a competition with him, but seriously, like, I can totally relate on totally different, I guess, what, like, circumstances. So there I was, like trying to like be the person that's gonna be like a good example, but no, so eventually what happened was, I had to end it. The more I was like being like sucked in with whatever else everybody was doing, and I started accounting. So I think to myself, like, you know what? I need positive assurance. I don't need negative assurance. Like, positive assurance. Negative assurance is when you mail a letter out to a third party and you ask them to write back to you and make and tell you, this is the account and this is the amount on the account. And then you have that positive assurance. Okay, so that's like, I just needed to know that. Thank you. That just makes me feel so much better, because I'm so open with everybody. I'm like, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to USC. I know my dad's a crackhead and they were in a domestic abuse relationship. I grew up on welfare, and I'm skinny. I basically I'm like, I have nothing, from nothing, but I'm still sharing everything that I'm going to do. Negative assurance is, I'm going to send you a letter, and if I don't hear back, no news is good news. Well, I don't do that. I don't do no news is good news. Like, no news is like, who are you? Like, what really are you? Besides, there was a few instances that I know that I was being gamed. I was totally being cornered into a situation that I just played it off and finished school, kept going with my life, with this miserable crackhead. Really, I mean, because that's what he was. He was. I don't know. I guess he could have been a heroin addict too. I'm not sure. I don't know how to. I never actually watched him. I feel like he people know who they can do things with and who they can't. And I'm the type of person that you can't do things with. So that was that. If he tried to game me and try to, play games like the mind games, he does them now. And then again, I just have to, I don't know, like it's too perverted. Anyhow, the other, I mean, like I'm safe. I'm safe. All right, so there was that. There's the fact that it creates an environment where I'm going to do things better. I'm going to, and I, so far, it's still affecting me. It's affecting me. People like, think of me like, what happened to Monique? Monique should have been like on our side right now, on our side of why we deal drugs. Look at all these bad people doing the drugs in the United States. Look at all this white people and see, and I'm like, I'm thinking they're equally as my enemy and anybody that like tries to stereotype me and think that like I'm the stash house, or I'm like the person that's like really serving, or that I know like where the next like shipment's gonna land. That's ridiculous. I know that they do. I know that they do, because as I was saying, is this person, my sister Michelle's boyfriend Felix, mentioned to me. See, there was just like little things that were mentioned to me. Like they were mentioned to me, like, and you're telling me this because, and this was like on very like rare occasion. I mean, like I rarely even visited with these people. So when I did, it was more about like she thinks she's better. She thinks she's better. And you know what? They're bitter because of this um illegal immigrant, Sylvia Castellanos, whom was married, whom was my with my brother. My brother tried to kick her out of his life so many times, it's ridiculous. But now it's like like her presence is everywhere. It's freaky. She's like worse than single white female. It's like she's not just trying to like usurp or like trying to. I mean, it's like she told me once that she went out on a limb for Eric, my brother, whom has now passed away for reasons that I'll get to in a minute. And I'm thinking like, in my head, I just used to try and dodge her like, okay, nice talking to you. Like nobody, like she was like totally older than my brother, by the way, by a year, but so what? I was 16. I was 16. She was 18. My brother was 17. And she used to try and get me like involved in like their little, like, well, I went out on a limb, and be all like fuming about things that I didn't understand and I didn't want to understand. I had just been through my own chaos with my own parents. But she's an illegal immigrant that has issues. She has issues with her own family that I'm definitely sure she tried to take out on me. And that wasn't going to happen. And I wasn't going to give her the reaction she wanted, like I don't do now. But she's still a stalker. I mean, it's like mental hijacking at its ultimate. Its ultimate. She supposedly went on a limb, and for me, I'm thinking, don't go on a limb for anybody. That's what any rational person would think. Don't. Why would you? Especially when you're only enabling and debilitating the person that you so-called are going out on a limb for. What are you doing going on a limb for anybody? In my head, right? And I'm thinking like, we're very different. I'm gonna go my own way. Oh, no, no, no. She said, oh, you think you're just going to go your own separate way? You think that's what Angel, some other like cokehead in Sinaloa, like some like big boss or whatever. That's what Angel's girlfriend said to Angel. She's going to go her own separate way. By the way, this other lady was white. So she's like just super like, what's the word? Bitter and spited, and she wants everybody else to be, and she wants me to be like her little like guard dog, like, oh oh, how dare she move on from a cokehead that got kicked out of the United States. By the way, this guy, Angel, he's probably still alive in Sinaloa. And guess what? His little brother, Louis, died in Inglewood or in the vicinity while I was in high school around the same time that I met Ruben Sola, my the father of my children. This is like stupidity at its fullest, but this is youthful stupidity, okay? Like, I understand that this is stupid. Who does this? I put my trust in people that later I couldn't trust. That's how it goes. You trust people, then you let them go. This person, Sylvia Castellanos, is a psychopath that doesn't want to let people just be a normal person. Like, well, I trusted you or I didn't, and it doesn't matter. I didn't, as long as I didn't do anything to you, live your own life, etc. So these people, I'm just like, it's all over the place around me. And this is mainly because my dad left our home when I was only 10. What was this? This was like early 1990s. She sent me to Mexico, came back 1993. Excuse me. So now, like, I have him like in Mexico. I have him on me like from here, and I'm just thinking like, okay, well, I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. Thank you guys. Like, I would really appreciate it if you just fucking back the fuck off. Thank you. I mean, if I have to make them back off, I'm pretty sure I can think of a few things I can do, you know? I mean, and it doesn't involve being like, like a spider or a snake or whatever you call those people, like a hooker. It doesn't involve any woman tactics. Um, Either way, my brother was taken advantage of. That's my thought. And I feel that he was used. He was a person that he was like the fall guy for a cartel. In all honesty, that's what I think. He while there's people that still want to save face here with authorities there, I mean, who knows? They are looking for fall guys that they can say like, well, I didn't know that this is bullshit. Octavio Padilla, the Padillas, bunch of them, like all in Santa Monica, all over Santa Monica. You think that I'm gonna let them use me? You think that I'm gonna let them use my kids? You know what? My kids are grown. They have a mind of their own. And if my kids want to get used at this point, that's totally up to them because I've taught them very well. I've stayed away from those people. I haven't had anything to do with them. They're very dangerous. They don't care about anything but themselves. All they care about is the next move and who's going to be dealing. Who's going. This is exactly what they're like. They don't tell you what they're doing. Why don't they tell you what they're doing? Why don't you know? Why don't I have a life where I'm surrounded with people that I wake up the next day and I think, oh, today I'm gonna go. Well, guess what? I will, and I do, every time that I'm not interrupted by things that I have to take care of in reference to my kids, which is no longer the case because my kids are grown now, and that's what they have to understand, and they will have to come to understand that, and they're on their own. um, they're totally being used. It's so it's just it's so sad. It's very sad. There, I mean, I was such a good person to them, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to be a good person to these people. You don't. They're gonna. There are forces greater than a good person that are what's influencing them. They're loyal to a completely different set of metrics, if you call them that. Would if their big boss, whoever it is. I mean, I watched the movie Traffic. Okay, I watched like every. I watched Scarface. I get a lot of my knowledge from movies like that too. Okay, like I get very like insights into that. I know when somebody is a doctor, when somebody went to school, when somebody is actually making a life of themselves, and I know when somebody didn't make anything of themselves, but is still sort of well off, but they don't have rich parents and So I'm thinking like, okay. And you know what? To Lana Fernandez, now Negrete, I don't know who she is really. I mean, she could probably be like married to somebody else at this point, because she was like a total promiscuous little mutt. I can't even call her like white trash, because who knows what she is, you know? It's like her dad was like this little like weird looking short, like, yeah, like just like gross, like a gross little person, and like a midget or whatever. Oh God, she's so gross. Um, but she is totally played against me to like want to, I guess, test me as to the, I guess, like, and any you know, sort of policy in this nation, like, and they do that, you know, they do that, and I'm thinking like, okay, so I'm Mexican, but maybe that's why I don't relate like to, I don't identify myself as a Mexican person. I identify myself as fuck you. I identify myself as like, I'm an individual. Happen to be born here, and um I'm God's child. God loves me and I love God. And one day I'm going to return back home. I call me an alien, not an illegal alien because I was actually born here, but you can call me an alien. That's fine. Um, so she wants to know why, like, there's people like, oh, like I forget what I was trying to say, but there's just other things about what I'm made to look like in any type of conflict between who's doing what and what I should be doing. That I, by the way, she knows Octavio Padilla. They're like fucking besties. Like they fucking like lick each other's fucking butthole, and like they're trying to like drag me in all the time too. It's like like they're like a full-time job. They're like, let's go get Eric's little sister, and I'm like, damn, do you want to fucking die? Do you want to die? Like, do you have like some sort of like fucking death wish? They're fucking like, leave people the fuck alone. I've already told you, like, leave me alone. Like I did my share of sleeping with a fucking crackhead. I don't need to like, and I ended it very amicably, and I didn't want anything to do with him after. That's okay. That's normal. Normal. Anyway, if I remember, maybe I just don't want to give her that much attention. But yeah, with her whole like stories about like, well, it's you push. Oh, like it's like the Mexicans pushing, and or it's like, and it's not the demand, and I'm thinking like, okay, like that's probably why I don't really want to talk about it. It's like it's retarded, but definitely my brother was used, and I feel that this is that conversation, getting into a conversation with this stupid mutt is going to make me feel like, oh yeah, and let's just go burn businesses down, because I think that she belongs at whatever it's called in Oregon. What was it? Stash house. I don't remember. Chad? I don't know. Anyhow, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm not going to have that conversation with people that want to blame, you know, Mexican people about it. Like, to me, as an accounting major, I had to take a few economic courses, and I do know that a lot of what happens in the market is, you know, demand supply relationship. So I'm not going to play the blame game over anything, but I definitely don't need these people trying to suck me into their world, and it sucks. And she only thrives as this little whore she is. She's like second to, she's probably the whore of Babylon, and then she just like, her and Kamala actually have a lot in common. Like I think they like had like Indian, like they almost even look the same. Like they're just into like blaming, like you know, like trying to slave drive, blame other people for everything, and then just get into power over other people. but like nothing to show for it, right? And they think that that's like they're out, like that's what everybody else is doing, so they should too before somebody else does it to them. So it's just more like vicious than anything. It has nothing to do with caring about anybody. And so, but that's a whole other thing. I just think that Kamala would prefer rubbing shoulders with somebody as easy as this whore as with me, and that's where I'm coming from with that. So I think that opening the border is going to welcome people that can use people like this ignorant whore that is defected. Obviously, her mother did a horrible job at raising this person, and I've tried to, since I had my kids, I've tried to stay away from them, and they're insulted, and they want to get back at me, and all I've done is show them how to be a straight and direct and decent person the whole time. And if they want to attack me over it, I mean, I'm not a violent person, but I wouldn't mind punching her around a little bit. You know, it's like she's asking for it. She also needs it. She needs to leave me alone. God, I don't think she's like I'm not buying that she's left me alone. She's like somewhere like, you know, lurking in the shadows, like, you know, like wielding her web, waiting for me to like fall prey again, and then I'm not supposed to know what hit me. She knows what I'm talking about, by the way. All of them do. They're like a little like they're a little cell of drug dealers that all they want to do is live in 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 I'm putting it in sort of biblical, your grandmother's terms. They want to have the luxuries. They want to have the pleasures. It's about sex, drugs, and nothing else. They want to use other people to get everything that they want. This is who they are. This is it's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. These are bad people. This is what I characterize as bad people. Good people are people that are the total opposite of that. So so yes, letting other, you know, more people in here. My other issue with with other with you know, people south of the border coming in here is that they're not my grandparents. They're not like trying to earn their merit and be like, you know, decent people and like respectful and um you know, be like shy and humble, like a humble person. They're not. No, they're coming here. They're being pushy. Like they're demanding. My grandparents were never demanding. That's not. Um, that would have never happened with my grandparents. But it's happening now, and it's happening with people that are inferior to me in every way. But there's, you know, but that's what they are. They're like whiny little pushy people that you're supposed to end up having to like change their diapers and wipe their ass. And why should we? Why should we? No, you be humble. You try as hard as you can to do things the right way, and then maybe things will be good for you. You know, don't come in here try to be like all like superior. You're not superior. You're inferior in every way. And that goes for everybody that acts like Julieta Beltran. Okay? And just anybody else like her, really. I mean, that's just one person. Either way, excuse my hair. I don't necessarily, you know, take it to spending 2 hours in front of a mirror every day. Actually, I just washed it anyhow, and then I just put it up. All right, well, yeah, so the Bible story of today is, oh my God, there's like so many passages I can think of. I'm really I'm hoping everybody's being like really like mad and upset right now that we can all use a savior, and hopefully we get one, and hopefully everybody like gets put in their place. Um, but this isn't like a great migration. This is like straight up like foolish people being fools and trying to and testing their boundaries. I mean, I have kids. My son mainly loves to test my boundaries. That's all they're doing. They're testing their boundaries. Hey, no pun intended, really. I mean, they're like testing their boundaries, crossing the boundary. But that's all it is. It's foolishness, and we're like pathetic under this leadership. And I hope that I don't give anybody and I guess like the um, ability, like the excuse to, oh, because they're old, like no senior card. Oh, because they're just cognitively impaired. No, no, you're the leader of what used to be the greatest nation. Oh, just because they're sympathetic and compassionate. No, be a monk. Be a monk. That's the place for you, buddy. So you have no excuse, Joseph Biden. You're disgusting. You and your entire family are disgusting. And yeah, you just, maybe you are the Antichrist, Maybe that is a biblical message here, is maybe you are. Maybe you're that good, like the devil got into the writings in the Bible, like, oh, he's gonna come from nowhere. Well, guess what, Joe? You came from nowhere. You've been in the Senate for 40 years. Who the hell? And all of a sudden, you're like the president? What the heck? Come on. You came from nowhere. You're an easy speaker and you can talk to people. Yeah, you sound like a retard every time you talk. I mean, people just like they just feel, oh, he's being real with us, because that's usually how people talk to everybody, is like we're all just a bunch of retards. So maybe you do have a way to talk to people. Maybe you're not, maybe the Antichrist like doesn't have to be eloquent. Either way, you're definitely driving everything, like everything bad to fruition. Definitely, you're definitely driving everything bad to fruition. You and Nancy Pelosi, you and your whole cabinet, ex cabinet, new cabinet, old cabinet, cabinets and back offices and sweetheart deals cabinets, in your kitchen cabinet. So you were just okay. Either way, I have to go now. I don't know. I'm thinking about it just because, and I'm gonna actually read and look at everything, and I'm gonna start making points. Like, hey, this guy is pretty fucking evil. I don't think you don't. I'm gonna end it with this. I don't think that you don't know what you're doing. I don't. I absolutely do not. At least I can say that much. Do not think that you don't know what you're doing. Thank you. Have a great night.